So when we are patronizing a particular supermarket, it's not just to buy things, it's to be friends with the staff so that they will allow us drop our flyers. So over time, people will come to us with the flyers that they picked from those. So long before internet marketing became a thing.
Hey guys, welcome to How They Did It with TriciaBiz, a show that takes you behind the scenes of successful African entrepreneurs, change makers, and creators, showing you the journeys that led to their success.
This episode is sponsored by Traction Apps, the growth partner for your business.
I'm live in the city of Abuja, and we will be chatting with Mr. Eloho and Mrs. Loretta Ovrere of Wallpaper World. Let's go in and hear how they've been able to build this monster of a business, taking it from 500 naira all the way. Let's go. All right, and it's time to meet Mr. and Mrs. Ovrere. Good day, sir. Good day, ma.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
You look really good.
Thank you very much. You too. You're looking good.
Gracias. So, you know, we've been walking around this place and it's just so magnificent. So I think we'll just start from the beginning. How did we start this idea?
Okay, I think ladies know how to tell the stories now.
Okay, so I'll take it from the beginning. We had just gotten married and went to real estate, which was primarily his business. And I was interested in doing something for myself. So we're looking out for businesses that I could do, attending seminars and all of that. And then in the apartment where we're living, there were other young couples who had just gotten married. So one day we went visiting one of them, and he's very observant. He noticed that a piece of border was used in their living room. And so he asked her about it. No much information. She couldn't remember where she bought it. She couldn't remember how much she bought it. So we concluded our visit. I didn't think anything about it, and we're back home. A few days later, he was out on business. He's a shopping type, so somehow he will always end up in a shop before he gets back home. And he found a similar design of that border and came home with just 2 pieces to decorate the living room. We're still in the honeymoon stage of our marriage, and we are still there 18 years later. And so we're still decorating a lot. So we used that border and liked it, and didn't think anything much about it as well. But sometime later, we had a guest who visited us, a friend, and we're talking about so many things, and ended up talking about wallpapers because he saw that. And he mentioned how someone bought from a particular location in Wuse 2, Abuja. And I picked interest and I asked, where is that? Because we wanted more to do the house as well. And he gave us the location. Next day, got into the car, we drove to that shop, and we found out that they had lots of these materials packed in a corner. They brought it in over maybe 20 years ago. They couldn't sell, so they just left it in the corner. So when you come wanting to buy the wallpapers, nobody attends to you because it wasn't really their core business anymore. They were focused on selling their furniture. So you have to go there, sort through the torn ones, the old ones, the wet ones, and get what you can use. We got some, went back to the house, and did the installation. Now, we were not aware that there was a specific gum for installing wallpapers. We didn't know the direction of installation, which is vertical. We installed it horizontally. Now, we didn't know that when you are installing wallpapers that have patterns, you have to be mindful of pattern matching it. We just installed our wallpapers whichever way, and they were beautiful. So that evening, another friend walked in and said, I like what you've done in your house. It's so beautiful. Where did you get it? And out of the blues, I said, I sell it. That's the story of Wallpaper World. And so he said, okay, I'll need 2. Can I get 2? I said, we'll get it for you tomorrow. Just come and pick it up. So the next day we went, we bought 2 borders. We bought for 500 naira. So this business started with 500 naira. Yes. And when he came in the next day, I sold it to him for 900 naira. So our first profit was 400 naira, which was huge. Yes, And so after that day, almost everybody that visited liked what they saw, and we'll just go ahead and we sell it. We'll drive all the way to that same shop, buy these things and bring back, not caring to check if the cost of fueling the car was more than whatever we were making. And not for once did I think that we had started a business. We were just enjoying what we were doing. And I had a handbag in the room where I just dropped the monies. I wasn't doing anything with the money, Then sometime later, we went back to the very first shop where he bought the border. And we noticed they didn't have enough. Okay. So we made a proposal. We can get more of this for you if your customers want it. And she said, yes, they're always asking. So she told her boss about it, and the boss said, no, they don't want it. She's not sure it will be original. We said, it's original. Some of the designs you have here, we can get. After much pestering, the boss said, okay, let's see what you have. We went back to that shop, got so many of them.
So which shop did you go to get it?
The second shop where we were now buying from, And we got so many of them and supplied this woman. And she made her peak and bought goods worth about 35,000 naira. That was huge.
Wait, hold on. So did you buy them or you borrowed them to show?
We were buying. Every time we just pay. Yes.
All the
yes.
You took to the woman.
Yes, because we knew that we'll be able to sell the remaining ones. We were already now selling it, selling to students. That's another aspect of the story. In Nasarawa State University, we have the friend there who was a student, and we convinced her that you can help yourself in school. We'll give you a discount on this. You resell to other students and make your money. And she bought into it. So we already had one reseller, So she bought goods worth 35,000 naira, and the profit was about 11,000. So for the first time, I thought, I think this is business. We can take this seriously. And because everything we do together, we were always together in all of this. And we began to tell more and more people. We didn't know there was an industry like wallpaper business. We had no one to look up to. And then as people started taking us seriously, especially certain classes of people, we knew that, there has to be something better. This looks so obsolete. Is there somewhere we can get better designs, more recent, designs? And we began to move around Abuja from showroom to showroom, where they had interior decoration materials, furniture, and all of that. We couldn't find anything. We tried Lagos, we could not. Port Harcourt, we could not. And so now there was someone who wanted wallpapers. And we felt, no, this is not the kind of thing this man is talking about. He travels out, so he should be thinking of something better. So how do we get better wallpapers? That was all in 2005 into 2006. In 2006, I think November, we're thinking of taking a vacation. Because the business had been good, our real estate business, and we thought, let's go for a vacation. Where do we go? So many destinations, but the primary thing for us was we want to go somewhere that will also have economic value. We need to look for these wallpapers. Okay. And so we settled on Dubai. Got to Dubai, spent a few days, kept asking that they take us to wallpaper shops. The person was delaying. One evening we got into Dera and were just strolling. And then he saw a very small shop somewhere and said, that looks like a wallpaper shop. And that's how we got there. We were so excited. New designs, more beautiful designs and all of that. More expensive too, but we were already in at this time. So we just got a hand luggage size of wallpapers, and we came to Nigeria. Increased the price because this was now more expensive, and the people just kept buying. That's how wallpaper was started, and we did all of this at home for almost 2 years. At a point, our living room, dining, lobby had bags and bags of wallpapers. He would go back to Dubai, get so much of them, bring them, and then that's how that's how the business started.
And the fun, one of the greatest things that pushed us to do more of it, I think, at that time was, for us, it was a win-win thing, because every space we did, we had to convince the people actually, but whenever we did a space, they always came back with smiles and joy. Everybody, wow, wow. Nobody considered how much they were spending anymore. So it was really a win-win for us all the time. You know, the person, we always waited for that time when the person would walk into the room and see what has been done. Yes.
Yeah,
so
interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, that's such a great story. Yeah. So how were you able to, convince people? Because then wallpaper, I would assume it wasn't really the first go-to item they would want in their houses. So how were you able to convince people that this is going to beautify your space and get them to buy?
I think for that, we always talked about it. You know, once we like something or we're into something, we are very passionate about it. So we always bring it into our stories. We're always telling people, there's nothing, we are gisting, maybe clothing. The next thing we say, this cloth it just looks like wallpaper, and we always brought it in and said, what is that? What are you talking about? This is your space we think wallpapers would be nice in it. No, I don't want wallpaper. It's not those paper thing we used to use when we're in school and all of that. They just had that mindset of wallpapers were those wrapping sheets they were using in school. But we told them, no, this is better. It's fine. I said, no, okay. We always wanted them to do, okay, just do a small space. And most of the time, we came through the children's room.
Okay.
They were more
receptive
to supposed to, okay, let's do the children's room. At least nobody's going to see that one. It's not my sitting room or something. Okay, maybe we should do the children's room. Let's see. And once they did that, they felt comfortable to do the rest.
And then they call you in for the rest. Oh, interesting. So by the time you decided that this was a business, that was year 2006 or 5? What year did you finally say? How much had this plaything generated by then? You're like, okay.
Maybe a few hundreds of thousands. Yes, at that time, because by the time we started traveling to Dubai, a lot of times we needed to raise capital through our real estate business and inject into the wallpaper business. And really for the first few years of the wallpaper business, we were not taking any money out of it. We just kept putting in. We had come to believe in it. We're enjoying it so much and we wanted to see it grow. The beauty that was being created was enough satisfaction. So we just kept putting in money. We'll make money and then we'll put it back in, increasing our inventory constantly.
Okay, makes sense. So this is in business language, I'll say it's a commodity product. So as anybody could pick one of it and sell. Yeah. How have you been able to create a brand out of a commodity product, which is one of like the hardest things to do?
Okay, maybe you want to start or should I speak?
Anyone. I think one of the first things was that as soon as we got serious with this business, we started with a mindset that we are not going to be just a shop.
Okay.
We wanted to be a brand. So it was a culture. We talked to our staff about it consistently. We let them know that, no, we are not just another shop. We are a brand, and then we also were very, very concerned about making sure that we brought only the best quality.
Okay.
If we brought in a product and it didn't meet up to the standard, we didn't sell it. Okay. It didn't matter if we were taking a loss on that. So a certain minimum acceptable quality was what we were working on. And then is it customer service? The customer experience was also another aspect, that we were working on. So over time, a lot of our customers became like friends, very loyal to the brand, and then repeating our story. So we grew through referrals, lots of referrals.
We're always part of at that stage, we're always part of every deal, every sales. We wanted to be sure it was okay. We came to check if they did a good job. Okay. At times, we wouldn't have to be the ones correcting what needed to be corrected. Yeah. And when there was a problem, we're very ready to do it. So integrity was number one.
Integrity over profit was what you used.
Oh, yes. We had times where we would redo a whole wall because the customer is not satisfied. Until the customer is satisfied, we are not stopping. And then another aspect that helped the business grow was the installation. Now, as we got into the business, we found out that over time, there were actually people who maybe bought wallpapers when they traveled out and just had them locked up in their houses. They couldn't install. There was no installer, you know. So when we started, we actually had people walk in and say, you sell wallpapers? I have this wallpaper I bought so long ago. Do you have installers? So we were the first installers. Okay. You know, with all of the mistakes we made. And then we began to train young men that were around us. Some were relatives, some were, you know, acquaintances. We began to train them. So we created, you know, an installation industry. And that industry has so grown now that you have some of those young men who have gotten married, bought cars, bought houses, just by being installers. Yeah. So we had people who were coming out of the university and no longer looking for jobs because they could work for themselves, work when they like, and all of that. So the bringing in the installation aspect, professional installation, encouraged consumers to use it because they knew that they could easily put it up on the wall and have it done properly. So this is how the brand was.
I think that was basically one of the, well, how will I put it now? One of the things that pushed the
brand.
Not just the brand, the industry in Nigeria.
Okay.
Because I think the lack of workmanship was a very big problem. A lot of people we found out that lots of people actually liked wallpapers. They liked to use it, but the aspect of being able to install it and do it properly was a big problem. And because of that, they just, maybe when they bought some, they kept it in their houses and they left it. But when they found out that, oh, it's possible to get people to really do this for us professionally and look very nice, they started asking more. Can we get more? Can we do bigger spaces? You know, do you have enough people? Can they go to my village? Can you do this one? And we're ready for all of that. So it became something that people started going for.
Okay, I think for me, the biggest thing I took away is integrity over profit.
Yes, it was.
Because that's really amazing because Nigeria has been bastardized or we have been shamed for bringing substandard or subpar service, you know, to the market. So when they see stuff from a Nigerian business, they have to double check to be sure. But seeing a Nigerian business who, it's not about the profit, it has to be good, otherwise our names won't be on it. I think that's something that, you know, many business owners need to take up, especially in these times.
This is me interrupting your watch time to tell you to like this video, share it, and also subscribe to my channel. You're still watching How They Did It with TriciaBiz.
Okay, so let's go back, right? Now, the year is 2006.
Yeah.
You're going to Dubai, coming back with small bags here and there of items. How did you then move from that sourcing system to the next stage? What was the next stage for you, sourcing-wise?
Well, I think that was in 2007. Yes, we had gradually it had grown. Most of our sourcing at that point in time was actually done in Dubai.
Okay.
Because from that first shop we saw, we started. Of course, we felt there should still be something. And like she said, I'm the very adventurous type when it comes to shopping. So anytime I go, I want to go out. At times, even when we go together, she's in the hotel. I'll tell her, let's go. She said, no, you can go and check what you want to check. So I walk around, try to find out where else can I get this and all of that. And so we also found some other shops that have different brands. Of course, everyone was selling a different brand. But the good thing about it was that these were very good brands. And so we had options.
Okay.
From there, we had options from the first set of wallpapers we were bringing in and the ones we saw. Now we had options that we could get from different shops and all of that. And of course, we started buying larger quantities from time to time. And once you're doing that, there are better deals. They want to give you, okay, can you just get all of this from us? You know, they're retailers, but they had maybe products they brought in and they're bringing in products. Okay, since you are reselling, we want you to get all of this for a better price and all of that. And so I think that was another step for us when it came to sourcing. But we also knew that that was not the best. Because bringing things, you're flying it in piecemeal, this and that and that. It was very expensive. And a lot of people, even when we started talking to manufacturers, they were wondering how we could make profit from such things since we were reselling. And so we started looking out for companies that were reselling, manufacturing wallpapers and all of that. We needed a good company. Like we said, quality was one of the major things that we're looking at. So that was practically one of the first things we wanted to do. I think doing that was just after, it only happened for us. We started, Okay, the good thing about it was that we started asking different companies. I went online,
Okay.
checked different companies, different manufacturers, that were manufacturing wallpapers, and especially those in Europe and all of that. But they always gave us the culture that when they hit Nigeria, at that time, nobody wanted to deal with Nigeria. So it was a big challenge for us. We start talking with them. They say, okay, that's nice. We want to do that. When they hear Nigeria, somehow they tell you we don't sell to Nigeria. America was the same thing. We don't sell to Nigeria.
Wow.
So it was a very big problem. So we started sourcing from other companies until we found this company that was Suwapa. It was a Taiwanese company, but they had their factory in China, in Shanghai. So they were the first people that actually gave us the chance, a yes to buy in bulk from them as manufacturers.
Wow.
And up to today, we still
do business with them.
Yes.
Definitely.
Interesting. So how did you feel when everybody kept saying no because of your nationality?
For us, it was not an option because we wanted to do something. This was what we wanted to do. So we just kept trying until we get our yes.
The dream was bigger than the no. So we kept pushing.
It didn't matter how many no's we had. Yes.
So have they finally said yes after all these years?
Every single one.
Everybody. The beautiful thing about it is that most of them didn't just say yes to us. After a few years, they made us their sole, partners, not just in Nigeria, in most part of Africa.
Oh, wow.
Because what we were doing was much more than what they were doing in the whole of Africa.
I think I'd like to tell the story of one,
Yes.
a UK company. Maybe I shouldn't mention their
The
name.
name, yeah, it's fine.
We had written them years ago and it was an outright no, we don't do business with Nigeria. And then now we were growing. A few years into it, one day I opened my email and I saw a mail from that company. Hello, I am XYZ.
From this
We are the biggest wallpaper company in the UK, and really they are. And we would like to do business in Nigeria. So if you are not interested, could you recommend a company to us? We saw your profile on Facebook and we would like to do business with you. And I walked to his office and said, guy, you won't believe. He said, I also got the mail, and so we replied them that we are interested in doing business with you if you want to go ahead. You won't believe. He traveled down to Nigeria.
Oh, wow.
So this time, we were not the seekers anymore. They were
now the
ones
ones
looking.
seeking.
We traveled down to Nigeria. We had our discussions, took him around our showrooms, and then we made a trip to their factory. The rest is history. We are still doing very good business.
I also remember the other guy that came in from Egypt then.
Yes.
Was a professor. He had a PU company, this design PUs and all of that.
Okay.
And he came to Nigeria and said he was looking for a company. They already had somebody somewhere in Lagos who was doing business with them. But he said they wanted to expand in Nigeria and that they've checked everywhere that our name kept popping up. At times you don't know when you just keep doing the things you're doing gradually. You don't know how far you've gone, what you've done. We didn't know we had become that popular. That most of the companies that were coming into Nigeria to check, at that time Nigeria was really booming. Everybody wanted to have something to do in Nigeria.
Okay, so will you say that it was a situation of, just do your thing and people will see what you do and then come to you? Was that what you think happened that turned that around?
Absolutely. We just kept growing. None of the rejections mattered. None of the negative vibes, because we also had Nigerians who were like, Nigerians don't use wallpapers. It's not good for our weather. Paint is cheaper. So all of the reasons why wallpapers wouldn't sell, but we were not giving attention.
And when they gave us those reasons, we always went back to check what answers we should give to them. From our experiences online, we did all the research. And so it was like building a market where there was none, and you had to be the one to dictate what it should be like.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So at this point in time, the business is growing, so you're employing people. What tips do you have for getting and retaining great staff? Because I assume those are the people you've used to grow the business, plus installers, plus people in your showrooms, etc. What advice do you have?
Okay.
Well, I would say number one, you respect those that work with you.
Yes.
A lot of respect. Mutual respect, and then letting them know that they are not just staff coming to work just for their pay, but they're part of a dream, and so everybody buys in. Beyond the money, they're also buying into a dream and being proud of the brand. You made them proud of the brand. Everybody should be proud that they're working with you. And so you just having a showroom or a company or a brand doesn't end with you. There are people who are going to identify with it, your workers, your staff, and all of that, and you must make them proud of that.
Okay, do you want to add
Yes.
any?
When it comes to staffing, we have staff members who have been with us for over 10 years.
Wow.
And we have situations where when others start opening up the same kind of business, they'll come to Wallpaper World and they want to get staff from us. And then when the staff refuse to go, they come back to us directly and ask, what did you do to your staff? Why don't they want to leave your company? But we've had staff come and go, really, but the ones that have stayed, one thing about Wallpaper World is we get their buy-in. Like he said, we have a lot of respect for our staff. We give them room to express themselves. So give it your best. We are not here, harassing you. Just do well. Then we invested in staff training over the years because if they know better, they'll do better. We also invested in staff welfare. We didn't want a situation where you say, oh, it's a one-man business, that's why we don't get paid. Our staff get paid promptly. It doesn't matter what the financial situation is at that time. We may have other obligations, but salaries are never negotiable, And then we only agreed on salaries we knew we could pay because we didn't want to owe. Then we also came up with a few packages like housing. After you've been with us for a year, you are entitled to some form of housing allowance. We have we celebrate their special days. So if it's your birthday, you get a cake. But as the years went on, they decided they've eaten enough cake. They want to monetize it, And then they get their leave. You have your annual leave. Because sometimes these are the things that are denied people who work for certain organizations. And they begin to feel like they're being taken advantage of. In Wallpaper World, you have your leave. You take it when you are supposed to. There's no option of not taking your leave. You take your leave, And then we also made sure that superiors do not bully. So we have a very cordial working atmosphere. Of course, we passed through a phase where we had some toxic staff and all of that. I think the lesson we later learned from that was when a staff is toxic, get rid of them quickly before it spreads, because at a point it's actually spread, but all of that generation is out, and today we have one awesome generation of staff, and you almost don't think you have staff because there's nothing to quarrel about, there's not much to correct. The business is actually now running on autopilot.
I know I'm interrupting your watch time, but this is so important. I wouldn't interrupt it if it wasn't important. Now, this is a message for business owners in Nigeria, courtesy our sponsors for this episode, Traction Apps. Now, they want me to let you know that you should not be POS less. If that's a thing. So if you have a business and you need POS for the business, Traction Apps is your best friend. They've got you. So they have 3 types of POSs, but in this video, I'll be talking about 2, the ones that I'm holding. So we have this one. This is Traction 1, right? It basically runs like an Android phone. So when it is on, you see that the Traction app is installed on the POS, so you can basically manage your stock, your inventory on it, and still use it to receive money. Now, this POS is going for 100,000 naira, but they have a lease to own solution, which is you get to just pay 500 naira every day until you complete your payment. Okay, so this is one. It is a POS and it doubles as a phone, a device as well, an Android device where you can operate the app on it and just see everything happening on your account. Now we have the regular POS. We'll call this Traction Pro. Okay, so it's a regular POS like you know it. You slot in your card here. So I'm just going to turn it on. And you can do all the whole purchase and whatnot and issue receipts. Now, this POS is going for 50,000 naira. But again, you can lease to own, which means that you can start paying 150 naira every day until you complete your payments. So if you've been struggling to get POS for your business, just go to the link in the description and apply for one. You'll get it within 48 hours. It is that fast, Remember, I always say traction apps, they're every business owner's friend. They're your partner because they have so many solutions to help you win and to help you grow as a business. So let's get back to the video of today. Enjoy.
Okay, so let's talk about money, funding the business. So the business started with money from the real estate business. So at what point did this business break even and stand on its own?
That would be hard because for me, I was more interested in seeing that, everything was just doing well. That was for me. I wanted to see the business was running. I wasn't really interested in how much was coming from the business at that stage until it got to the point where we needed to pay for some things. And when I felt we didn't have enough money for that, she always turned up with, but there's money now. From this. And so that's when I knew, something has been coming up very well that I didn't know about. That she just kept, saving those funds. And when it got to the stage where she felt we could use them for big projects, so I think we have something that we can start with.
So what year would you say was that year when the business was self-sufficient?
About 2009.
Okay.
2010.
Yeah.
So that's like 5 years after it started.
Yes, because that's when we were always so interested in increasing our inventory. So all the monies, because we found out that the bigger buyers wanted things in large quantities. When we started, if we had 4 rows of a pattern, we thought we had wallpapers. And then a customer walks in and wants 45 rows. And you're wondering, buy different ones and make up your 45. He says, no, I want one to be 45. So the push to start increasing the quantity of the best-selling patterns was there. So all monies kept going back in. But around that 2009 into 2010, I suddenly found out that even when we had paid for whatever procurement and all of that, salaries paid, rents paid, and we now had some money, and we also didn't go on a spending spree.
Okay.
We began to reinvest those monies into our other businesses, and then into making Wallpaper World even bigger, more self-sufficient, still on inventory, still on... We invested a lot in the look of our showrooms. Every few months, we'll switch up the look, change how the place appeared. And, then I think around 2011, we started thinking we will need to have our own place. Okay. Because paying for warehousing was becoming very expensive, and that's when we bought the land where we're sitting now. That became our headquarters. This is a 4-story building. And then this changed the game. Because at this time, there were so many competitors. One, we've never paid attention to our competitors. We get to find out, somebody is doing the same business. Say, good, the market is big enough. The more competitors that came into the market, the bigger our market became, because somebody could go somewhere wanting to buy wallpapers. They are less likely to get the kind of quantities and varieties and then quality. And so information gets to them that there's one place where you can get it.
They're already helped in advertising the product. So a lot more people were not talking about the product beyond us. At the beginning stage, it was more like us being the main people talking about wallpapers, telling everybody about wallpapers. So now we've had a lot of people come into the business who are also doing their own marketing. So more people were getting to know about wallpapers. And the only way you could actually, remain top is to continually be ahead. And so we had a slogan, then we told ourselves, always ahead. So we told ourselves the only way to remain relevant is to always be ahead of anybody who is coming in. We started it, so we should always set the pace. And
we never settled.
So what's the downside to, because I hear that, so that means you're always looking for the latest designs, always trying to stock inventory. What's the downside to having a lot of inventory on ground?
I don't think there's a downside.
There's no downside.
Yes.
Because the more inventory you have, maybe because we still do a lot of marketing, the more sales that we get. You have somebody working. In fact, the demand for quantities, large quantities in single patterns keeps growing. Somebody still can walk in today and say, I want 500 rows of one wallpaper. And there's hardly anywhere you'll find that except Wallpaper World. And at that beginning stage too, we invested so much in, will I call it personal marketing or whatever, one-on-one.
Okay, one-to-one marketing.
We had street storms, market storms,
what marketing has worked.
Mosque storms, church storms, school storms. We went everywhere, you know. Then hotels. Then we made friends with people in supermarkets, fast food joints. So when we are patronizing a particular supermarket, it's not just to buy things. It's to be friends with the staff so that they will allow us drop our flyers. So over time, people will come to us with the flyers that they picked from those. So long before internet marketing became a thing, we were.
You've been doing the
marketing.
And I think a lot of people too got very comfortable with us because maybe we didn't know it, but we were investing in ourselves, trying to build and make the business as big as it was. So because we're now attending the major exhibitions around the world, we are there, which a lot of people will not do because they'll feel it's not this business. Why should I be spending so much money going to Europe for exhibition? But when you get there, you are seeing new things, new people, new designs. You're getting to know more about the product. There are things you can tell your clients that they cannot tell your clients. You know the diversity of what works and what does not work. Why this wallpaper is good, this one is not good, and all of that. So people were educated when they came to us, and that was part of something that made us different from everybody. And of course, that affected our showrooms too, because what we saw, we always wanted to replicate
it here.
Yeah.
So exposure is also something that has helped the business.
Yes.
So at what point in time did you decide that we wanted to add on more products beyond wallpapers? What was the growth strategy? So you started with wallpapers, then you added installation. So what else did you add and at what time?
I think immediately after wallpapers, then installation, channels were established. The next thing was photo murals. But that came from seeing what other wallpaper shops in Dubai were selling at that stage. So when you're buying from them, you're saying that they have this other thing. Yeah. So we started bringing in photo murals. Also grew to the point of buying the photo murals from the manufacturers. Then after photo murals, I remember 2008, we went to Beijing, 2008, 2009 for an exhibition. And we came upon what is now popularly known as 3D boards. It was the first time we were saying it. Beautiful, but expensive compared to every other product that we were selling. And they were so happy to see black people. I think
we were about the only blacks that were
in that whole huge exhibition. Yeah. So we didn't know they had taken our pictures, while we were in their booths, and they wanted us to sell the product. We thought, no, we are not sure people will buy this. It's way too expensive. So we came back and started thinking over it. And then at a stage, he said, let's bring in samples, just put them in the showroom. We didn't have for sale. We just brought in the samples. And then when people admire it, we tell them the price. We're watching the customer's reaction. We always listen to the business, listen to the customers. What do they want? Somebody walks in. I remember at a point, is it imposter syndrome, they call it, when you are afraid to offer something bigger. We had all our wallpapers within a certain price range. We didn't want to go beyond that because we didn't believe that people would pay that much. But we had situations where certain people will walk into the showroom, ask you, how much is this? You'll tell them, no. How much is this? You'll tell them. One actually said to us, when you get serious, I'll come back.
So don't you have something more expensive?
Oh, wow.
So listening to the market, we were growing alongside the business. And then when we saw that people loved this and they didn't really mind the price, we started bringing it in. Okay. So every time we will test the market with a little. When the market accepts that product, then we'll bring. So
I think what really excited us about the 3D wallpapers was one night. I think I was just on the internet. Late in the night, I was just checking, products and all that. And I think they were doing another exhibition was coming up, and they were advertising different things. And suddenly, a picture popped up, and I saw myself on the picture. I saw both of us. I said, this was from China. I said, we're popular. I said, what is it? And we're right in that booth where they had the 3D board and, showing us and all that. I said, we have to get this product here. We're already the face of this product. We can let people see this. And we talked with them, and that was it.
Okay, and after that, you've just kept adding
Kept
on.
adding what
Adding, maybe because the need was there,
was there.
or we saw
We
them
felt people
in
who
an
need it.
exhibition and thought this would solve a different kind of problem, just like the HD fireproof walls. You know, in the last booth where we were talking. Now, that's a product that we are the only ones that sell in Nigeria till date.
Oh, wow.
And one of the beautiful things about it, though it's expensive, one is durable, more durable than almost all other wall coverings, and then maintenance free. It gives you such ambience that, you know, so when we see a product like that, of course, after we grew beyond the price fear,
Yeah,
you know,
fear of
we were now bolder.
type of
Yes,
product.
and of course, a lot of people were coming in when they saw that we had become quite a large establishment. They would come in and start asking for solutions. You know, don't you have something so that I can use to? I have this problem, my walls, because we're not just saying we're selling wallpapers. We were a wall solution.
Consulting,
Yes, anything that I had to do. So they come in. Do you have something that I have water problem in my wall? What do you have? I have this. Don't you have alternative for so and so thing and so? So when we traveled for exhibitions, we're always looking out for such things. So it was like, once we see this, this will meet that need. This will meet that need. And so most of the time we tell them, okay, we're not going to start with very big quantities because these big manufacturers are always wanting you to say, you're doing 2 containers or 3 containers. So we tell them, no, we'll have to do an order that can test the market, a sample order. So we're getting some quantities, large enough, of course. And when we see the response, most of the time, we always add it time. That was it.
I would like to say something about that because sitting here is a master negotiator. He practically gets every company we do business with to do his bidding. Doesn't take a no for an answer, doesn't give up easily. So a company says to us, the minimum quantity you can start with is XYZ. And he says, well, why? I'm taking your products to my country, I'm introducing it. So I'm doing you a favor, I'm marketing for you. So you should allow me start with, you know. Yes, and every time we got our way. So that also enabled us to grow gradually because there was no funding from our banks at that stage. You know, you need to be successful before they start coming around to want to. So there was no funding. We also needed that leverage, that opportunity to grow with what we could afford. And he had a way of always achieving that. Jokingly, I usually tell him that sometimes you take these things free from these people.
What's the one tip that you give entrepreneurs when it comes to negotiating with little resources that you have?
Well, when it comes to negotiating with little resources, first you need to know what you want and be convincing that you can do something with it. Because the manufacturers or whoever you're buying from also want to see how serious you are and your ability to be able to push what they have. And not giving up, not saying no, and not just agreeing to, because you could agree to something big and never go back again because you handle something you could not handle. And so for me, it was always that thing of, at every point in time, let them know I can handle this, I can do this, but I'm not stopping here. Giving them that assurance that you're moving ahead. There's a bigger market. There's a bigger market. There's more coming, and I'm going to put in, my best to make sure that with this I can push that.
And I think be really committed. Don't also have the mindset of using them, because some people want to use whoever they can find to start off and then move to others.
Then run off.
But we have companies we've been doing business with for over a decade, and we are still doing business with them. So also be committed. Let them see that they'll get value over time.
Interesting. So everything sounds really rosy so far. What challenges has this business gone through, survived, and how did you walk through them?
I think every business goes through the same challenge that every other business goes through. Is actually and how you handle it, how you approach it, how you deal with those things that really matters. And I think that's where we came in. We've always had our way of dealing with things, whether it's staffing, whether it's money. The economy changes from time to time, and at times you are pushed to the wall, with financing the business. Of course, the economy changes, the policies are changing. So most of the time, are you discouraged by those things, or do you have this resilience to say, no matter what happens, there'll always be a way?
What's the biggest challenge? If you wanted to pick something, what would that be that you've gone through as a business?
There were quite a number.
Okay.
At a particular stage, it was staffing. You know, when the staff didn't see your business as a serious business. So we had situations where staff wanted to resume when they liked, you know, and we didn't allow it. Then we also had a generation of staff. In fact, there was a day 50% of our staff resigned on the same day without prior information.
Wow.
You know, and then at a particular stage, because of we're still developing our structure, so our inventory, we had inventory leaks, and we lost quite some.
I was coming to theft.
Products. Yes, we lost quite some products to some of our staff at a certain stage, and in some cases enabled by buyers. There's a market waiting to receive it.
To receive stolen goods.
So these staff are willing to feed that market. But over time, with software, structures, and all of that, we've been able to minimize that.
One thing we've also done is that we've not been afraid to invest into, you know, plug in every loopholes. Yes, tools that would help you to do your business, you know, seamlessly and all of that. So when we saw such problems, whether it has to do with money to deal with it, or training the people, or putting in your time to talk to them and make them understand, we always did what we needed to do and never stopped.
I know there was a fire incident. How did you guys recover from that?
Do you really recover from it? You just keep it behind you and keep moving. You know, yes. So
because we lost goods worth quite some tons of millions, you know, to that fire incident. But I think just like every other thing we have done, we just take it in our strides. We believe that if we started from ground zero and we are here, then we'll be able to surmount. So we just kept pushing on. In fact, that warehouse is filled to the brim right now because we did the renovations and then started bringing in goods. We just
did the business have insurance, or you had to?
At that time, there was no comprehensive insurance on that, so it was like losing all of that.
So you lost.
So it was a lesson learned also. Like I always say, there's really no failure if you learn to lesson. You know, so for us, there was really no loss because we learned from that. It's just that you always pay for education.
You pay for it, yes.
and all of that. And for us,
the tuition was high.
Well, the tuition was quite high. And apart from that, there was nothing like trying to recover. We did more of trying to build on.
Okay.
Building on what we had left rather than trying to go back to see what you can pick. We just built on and kept moving on. And so it was part of the lessons we learned.
Fantastic lesson. Okay, so you guys have been working together for 18 years now. What advice do you have for couples who are currently in business and just need that direction, or intending couples who want to start a business together? What has worked for you both?
Okay, it's a two-pronged thing, so she should start. And,
oh, really?
Yes. Yeah. So let's hear from you.
Okay, for me, if you're going to work together as a couple, first of all, the goal has to be the same. You have to realize that you are a team, you are not competitors, you know, and then the need for superiority has to be eliminated, because sometimes you want to bring in the head of the house thing into business, but it doesn't work like that in business. In business, it has to be who is best at a certain thing, you know. So it didn't take us long to find out our strengths. There are things I'll never bother to get involved with, like negotiating. You know, so I go to him. Oh, we need to get this done. And then there are things he doesn't get involved with because he knows I'll do it even without any assistance. So you have to know your strengths.
Your strengths.
You have to be willing to compromise. You can't always be right. You know, and then maybe have a good channel of communication. You don't have to agree on everything at once. You can revisit that conversation. As long as the goal is to be successful together, to see that business grow, I think that then mutual respect, a lot of respect. One party should not assume a position of superiority,
over the other.
You know, and don't bully. And then in our business, we both take responsibility. Doesn't matter who made the final decision. We believe that any decision we have made is binding. So if it works well, we celebrate. if we find out that it wasn't such a good decision, we just forge ahead, correct what
So no
we
pointing of
didn't do
fingers
right.
to say.
And so no one accuses the other. Oh, if not that you're the one that said we should bring this product, we'll not be stuck with it. No, are we stuck with it? How do we sell it off? How do we extract the money that went into this? And then we keep moving. So no accusations. I think transparency.
Yeah.
Transparency.
So I think one of the major things is to break away from the normal, because approaching a business where it's both of you, everybody will always feel the guy should always be the one to jump out first and talk and do everything. So I believe that's where the guys should always come in a business, to allow the ladies to be in the forefront. Businesses that work, you allow the ladies to come. Just like we were just talking, I told her talk first and all of that. So it's always let them talk. And you can always, you're like the Eliza, you're the one that brings in
The balancing,
of everything,
effect.
the effect and all of that. Women have a lot to give. They have a lot to bring out. At times, maybe too much. So you're able to so you're able to say, okay, maybe we should keep this one aside for now. Let's concentrate on this and this and that, and then let's do this. And like I said to you before, no has never been the final answer for us. Even if we say, okay, this product, I don't like it, no, I don't want it now. The no is not final. Sometime later, it might come back in our conversation and say, that thing we're talking about, that thing you're even saying that time, I think, and always having the sincerity of referring back to your no's to become a yes. So I know I said no, but that thing, I think it will fit in now. Yes. Where the need comes in, I think now it's going to work for us. So maybe we should go back to that thing. And of course, you're the one that brought the idea. Maybe you should tell us, what do we do now? How do we, put this into that? And being partners in making sure that you always have answers. Okay. Like they always say, 2 heads are better than one. And wherever there's an issue, you should always allow yourselves to be able to give different views on the same matter. You must never be a yes person, because this person said it. I don't want to hurt her. So okay, yeah, madam, I just said.
I actually have times when I've said to him, "You asked for my opinion, so that I didn't agree. you asked for my opinion, and this is my sincere opinion." And at such times, when we get to that point where we can't agree, we leave that topic for the meantime. We come back to it later. And then maybe give credit to the other person. Don't want to take all of the credit, all of the glory. So it's not an I thing when you know that.
When you're referring to the success of the business, it should not be when I did it, as I did this. It shall be we always, even when you're the one that was in the forefront, it was we. You just were the face that they saw. So I think that's one of the major things, and being able to celebrate every step, every success, having someone to, it's really amazing, because it's a sport. When you have someone to celebrate every, landmark, every success, you also have someone to be able to share the challenges with, and say, okay, no matter how tough it is, there's somebody else who is always problem shared. They say it's half solved.
Aspect of the challenge.
It's half solved.
Knowing that you're not alone makes all the difference. Because sometimes maybe it would have been overwhelming, but there's a comrade. There's someone you can go to and say, we'll get through this. We've gone through worse things and we came out.
I says, don't bother.
So that's
a matter of time.
Sharing your joys, sharing your challenges. I think that's one thing that has kept us going. Irrespective of what comes, we believe that if we have 2 of us,
we'll surmount it.
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, so now the business is growing and you're getting more demand. What strategies did you use to reach more customers? Did you find distributors, or how did the business grow?
Of course, the world is changing, and the strategies are also changing when it comes to marketing. We've always embraced every new strategy that was in the market.
Okay.
Beyond the fact that we never dropped that thing of being, physically involved with the business. One-on-one will never stop, because people get to know about that. I come to your dry cleaning firm, I'm talking to you, I'm looking at your one and tell you, why didn't you use wallpapers here? It's better for you, and tell them the reasons why they should have used wallpaper rather than using paint, and so on and so forth. And so for us, we've also looked at what are the trends when it comes to marketing. Where are the people? That's the first question you should ask yourself. Where are the people right now? Where do you find the people? Because the people are the ones you actually want to reach out to. And I'm sure if you ask yourself that question, it will pop out.
Okay, so when it comes to growing the business, first of all, our first strategy was purely traditional, organic. You know, we were like vuvuzelas. We still are. You know, we've never taken our marketing as a secondary responsibility. To us, it's primary. So we hardly will meet anyone and not talk to them about our business. We'll find a way to bring it into the conversation. Then we used a lot of flyers, street storms, word of mouth marketing. Then we, at the early stages, one of the things that worked for us so well was what I'll call, we didn't see them as resellers then. The term resellers, we started using it later on. You know, but that's basically what they were. We encouraged people to buy from us and sell to others. So we gave discounts, you know. Then if you had to bring the customer to us, you get a commission. And when the internet was not yet a thing like it is today, that was one of the ways we got into states we have never been to. We were selling to Bayelsa, Asaba, Lagos, you know, Port Harcourt, everywhere, because people found out that they could make their own monies. So that led to such growth at that stage, and we are still, you know, doing that till date.
We're always ready to also give. Yes. When it comes to, we had promotional materials for people. Some people came from all the way. There was a guy that came all the way from, was it Bayelsa, Port Harcourt, with a pen that had our name, you know, on it, and said, I saw this pen and I wanted to be sure if it's real.
I think he was already buying from someone, you know, who was buying from us, but the person wouldn't tell him where he was getting it from. And then someday he stumbled on a branded pen and called our number. He's still our customer till date. You know, and that's well over a decade ago.
As a business, you always learn to give.
So branded materials,
promotional items.
Yes, and then discounting has worked for us big time, both for our customers, the end users, and then for those who are in between. Yeah.
Now that the internet is a big deal, we are there too. Yes. We had to work on our website to make sure it's something that meets up with the demands of the day. You know, so it's easy for people, because it's not just about I just have a website. No. Is it useful for what it's meant for? The customers, are they able to navigate easily? Is it welcoming? Those are the
user-friendly.
User-friendly.
Yes.
There's so many things we had to. It costed a lot of money, but we were ready to put in the money.
And we had to revamp it again and again over the years. We didn't just stop. And talking about the website has brought us a lot of business from outside Nigeria.
Okay.
So,
how many countries will you say you've gotten orders from?
Over 10.
Wow.
Over 10. We do a lot of sales in New Zealand, Australia, America, UK.
Why are they not buying from
interesting
guys in the UK?
Okay. Maybe number one, I think one of the major reasons that they move very fast away from some brand or designs that we still have. So most of the time, the manufacturers don't have those designs anymore. But we still have
from
it.
2 seasons ago, and they still have it.
Yes, even when they say they've stopped producing it, we pay for them to manufacture it for us. Minimum quantity. We buy the minimum quantity. They'll tell you, okay, except you want 1,000 rolls of this, then we can do it for you. We tell them, okay, no problem. We pay for it.
Okay.
And so always have it. So when people are looking for that design, we are the ones that will find it
with you.
Yeah, yes.
Once they put the code online, it goes to the website that has it in stock. And that way, we've sold to Middle East, other African countries. You know, it's been quite a journey.
Stocking has been a very good market for us, because when you're stocking, you have things that even the manufacturers don't have.
Yes, and that makes you the sought after brand.
Yes.
Okay, so what advice do you have for entrepreneurs out there? Based on your journey over almost 2 decades now, what advice do you have for us?
Personally, I'll say that 1, believe in yourself.
Okay.
2, dare to dream. Because when we started out, 1, we believed so much in the business. Then we had a big dream. We'll say, we are going to be this, we are going to be that. You know, even when it didn't look like it. I remember when we had just 1 showroom, and we're talking about how we'll be in more showrooms than that. And before we knew it, this was built and all of that. Believe in those that work with you. If you work for the good of your staff, most likely they'll be with you longer and then support your business more sincerely. You know, we have something that we do here. If you've been with Wallpaper World for 10 years, you get an all expense paid trip to Dubai, you know. You know, and then we are not looking at if 10 years was Dubai, what would 15 years be? It has to be something better.
Bigger.
What would 20 years be? You know, so those who have stuck with you don't feel disadvantaged. They also have something that they're, you know, and then you have to be determined, resilient, and disciplined. A lot of businesses want to reap before they sow, long before the business has grown to where they can take out. They want to take out quickly. You know, they want to live maybe a flamboyant life. But I always say that if you stick with your business long enough, put into it long enough, it will pay for whatever lifestyle that you want to have.
So for me, I would say is to keep growing, because when you stop growing, you start dying. Any business that stops growing actually starts dying. So you must always look for something to reinvent. You know, keep being at the face of the people, give them what they want, be dynamic. Apart from that, concentrate on your goals and pay less attention to the distractions.
Pay less attention to the distractions. Fantastic. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very
It's
much.
been an interesting time. So you guys have heard it from the co-founders of Wallpaper World, the premier wallpaper brand in Nigeria. You've been watching how
I want to add most part of Africa, if not Africa. Yeah. We are big enough for that.
fantastic. You've been watching how they did it with TriciaBiz. I'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.